All right, guys, welcome everybody. I'm LaDonna, your host, and this is Let's Talk About It because we're going to talk about some things on this evening. Minority Men in Business. I'm so glad they are here on this evening. I am still waiting for two more guests to come on, but when they get here, they can come into the house as well. We're just gonna go around and they can introduce themselves and they can tell you where they're from and let them a little bit about themselves. And Preggy, just introduce yourself.
I am Craigie Govender from South Africa, Durban, and semi-retired in business, now a professional network marketer. And the reason why I got into network marketing was purely for the time and time freedom, more especially.
Oh, wonderful. Antonio, would you introduce yourself? Introduce yourself.
Yes, I'm Antonio Thomas of Montgomery, Alabama, and I'm the founder of Goals Enterprises, where is an acronym for God on All Levels. And we strive daily to be 2740 certified. And that means that we're doing everything possible to educate our people as far as their health, their wealth, and about their own generation and the possibilities that they have if they apply.
Oh, wonderful. Calvin, you can just introduce yourself to our viewers.
Sure thing. Hello, everybody. Thank you guys for joining us tonight, and thank you, LaDonna, for having me. I am Kelvin Troy Johnson, creator of Platform Builders, as well as Love Coach Atlanta. I do the business side on Platform Builders, helping people who have message to turn their message into a market, and to take it to the market, and to build a brand around their message. And on the love side, I created Love Coach Atlanta, and I help people to find the love they're looking for, or light a fire under the love they have.
Oh, interesting. So, RJ, Roland, could you just introduce yourself to everyone this evening?
Okay, viewers, my name is Roland R.J. Davis. I'm from Virginia Beach, Virginia. I am an author and a writer, an author of three books, The Players 2, The Red River Syndicate, and the recently re-released Retribution, Actions, and Consequences, and the soon-to-be released Retribution, The Aftermath. Um, I got into writing because I love to be creative and to entertain.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you, men. This is incredible. I'm so glad you joined me this evening. This is something that God gave me, and I believe that I want to be able to reach people from all over the world that are minority men and women in business, different different things that they're working on. And I'm so glad you decided to join me on this evening. I'm going to ask a few questions, and then at the end, we'll open it up maybe for the viewers if they have any questions as well. My first question is, as a minority man in business, what challenges did you face in the beginning versus now? And Perky, I'm gonna start with you. What challenges did you face in the beginning of your journey that are different then and now?
Well, if just to put in terms of the dynamics, if I look at South Africa, there's 58 million people. That's our population, and I'm the third generation of Indians that are born in South Africa, and it just makes up of about 1.5 million of the 58 million. So we basically are the minority of it. And the challenges that we had, I think, in the beginning, firstly, during the days of apartheid, we had just Indian schools. If you were an Indian, you could only go to an Indian school. If you were black, you could go only to a black school. White, you could only go to a white school. And then moving into higher education, the exact same thing happened. Went into business, you had segregated areas where, as an Indian businessman, you could only trade in an Indian area, you couldn't trade in the in a white area. So yeah, those were some of the challenges that we had.
Wow, that's crazy. Versus then and now, do you see a big difference from what you could see when you first started to now?
Well, definitely a huge opportunity. I would look at it. But on the other hand, on the flip side of it, the majority is now black, and the same thing happened again in terms of people applying for jobs. The quota again, being minority, you still didn't have the opportunity to get the lucrative jobs.
Mm.
It was not based on, in your qualifications. It was based on purely your color again. So on the flip side, it's literally from a white, majority in terms of business. Now it's gone to a black majority. Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's interesting. Antonio, as a minority man in business, what challenges did you face when you started versus now?
Well, the challenges that I faced was just simply not knowing what I wanted to do, not knowing where to start, and not knowing where to find the resources that I need to get started. I mean, I didn't know anything about applying for an LLC or registering with the state or what particular field I wanted to go into, because I grew up in a household where it's all about get your education and get a good job, get a good spouse, and then live out your American dream, I guess. But then that just seemed outdated to me when I was going on a job and I'm starting and I'm graduating from college and I'm starting at the bottom level and have to work my way up when I'm
Mm.
seeing my white counterpart graduate from college and go straight into management. So I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to get out there and learn everything that I need to learn as far as educate myself. So I started reading. I started making connections with different people because I've always felt that I had the entrepreneurial spirit, and it comes from my biological father's side of the family. And
Mm.
because I watched them, my grandfather, he led his own carpentry business. I have aunties and uncles. They have properties that they own and that they rent out or that they sell. So once I became educated and connected to the right people, things still was kind of challenging, but not as challenging because I knew what I wanted to do and I knew where to start. And so now things are a lot easier, but the challenges still remain.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. Cal, um, for you, when you started, the challenges you had in the beginning of your journey to now, what are the differences?
One of the major differences that I can say is having the belief that I could,
Mm.
like you can have all of the you can have the education, you can have the experience, you can have the connections, but if you don't have that center point belief
Mm.
that you are enough and you're good enough and you have enough and you just are enough to go take that step, you just, I mean, we all know people who've got multiple degrees who are sitting still. They're not going forward with what they have. And so for me, the biggest thing was just believing that more was possible, that I wasn't just going to be stuck doing what everybody else was doing. I was raised in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Um, you only know Atlantic City for one reason, right? And it's not Donald Trump. But it's kind of right. It's the casinos,
Yeah.
and the area is. I mean, it's a lot like like a mining town. You know
Mm.
how the mining towns are. You graduate from
Right.
high school, and you hope to get a good job down at the mining down at the down at the plant, and that's how Atlantic City is. Everybody get out of high school and you go to the casino, and you go from casino to casino, work for a few years here, there, to the next place, to the next place. And I just believed that for me, I believed that there was more inside of me, but I didn't know. I didn't really. I wasn't really confident in it in the beginning. But I just took the step. I took the step. I got in the car. I drove out of state to go to college. I did whatever it took to get through that process. Sleeping on the floor in the dormitory, sleeping on the floor in my boy's house. Just all those things until each trial actually helped me to build more confidence that more was possible. And boom, that was the blessing.
Wow, that's incredible. I remember those days too. You got $5 for I remember those days.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Can I get RJ? As a minority man in business, what challenges did you face in the beginning of your journey to now? What are some of the differences?
Well, LaDonna, in the beginning of my journey, it was strictly confidence that I can put something together. Because I love reading. I've been loving to read since I was a little boy. But to actually use my creativity, use strictly imagination mixed in with bits and pieces of the real world to put something together called a book. That's no easy chore. Not for me, it's not. So the first time I wanted to do it was back in 1999. But I didn't start putting the pieces together until 2004.
Wow.
But then I still procrastinated around and didn't release my first book until 2015. So that tells you by itself, I've been, going back and forth with it a long time. But once I got started with it and saw what it can do, there was no turning back. There was no looking back. And, it's been a fantastic journey. Win, lose, and draw, good, bad, and ugly. It's been a great journey so far, and I got a whole lot more to go.
All right now. This is my next question. At what age did you realize that you were different? At what age? For me personally, I think I was maybe about 6 or 7. I realized that I was different than than my other counterparts. I realized that I was different from people touching my hair, from people, talking about my skin color, and I'm like, "Oh, well, I thought we were friends." I don't, because kids, we don't see difference until somebody points it out to us. So, for RJ, at what age did you realize that you were different? At what age?
Basically, the age I started paying attention to things was around 10 years old. Um, while everybody else was doing whatever they was doing, I pick up a book. And what I didn't understand, I asked questions. If a person didn't know, I'll go to someone else. But you know, that's what it was, around 10. And I, realized I had the passion for reading,
Mhm.
passion for doing things, the things like that.
Antonio, what age did you realize that you were different? At what age did it click to you? Man, I'm different. What age did it click?
Had to be around about 13 when I first entered junior high school,
Mm,
because uh, growing up in my time, being smart or being a nerd, you got picked on a lot. You was bullied, and
mhm.
so it wasn't a cool point to be a straight A student. And so to be out and to be you know, bullied and picked on about being a straight A student. That kind of changed my course. I got off course. And because I wanted to be one of the cool kids. I wanted to be one of the guys that, you know, that the girls like and the guys like being around. So it kind of like changed my whole perception. It changed my course of direction. But it was when I lost my my great grandmother who raised me. And I remember when every time I brought my report card home, she would call her friends over and say, hey, come look at his report card. And then she would say, hey, go in there, you know, and write something for him. Look how good he writes. And then she would like cook me like my favorite meal or whatever. And then after all that was over with, I just brought home a straight A report card. She said, okay, now go in there and study. So she made sure I went in there and studied and things of that nature. But it was like around about when I got to middle school, because it was a bigger school, kids, you know, older than the elementary. And I wanted to play sports, and I had the grade to play sports. But just being a straight A student or being a nerd or whatever they want to call it, you know, wasn't a cool thing. So that's when I realized about it at 13.
Thank you. Peggy, what age did you realize that you were different? What age did it click for you that you
Well, I
realized?
think I had two realizations. Firstly, the first realization was maybe the age of 6 or 7. You know, when I used to go out with my dad, and if we went to a restaurant, we couldn't go into the restaurant because we were not color. We would have had to go around the restaurant, and there's a little square hole that you would basically buy your an ice cream or so. And the same thing would be in the banks as well. You walk into a bank and you're not standing; you're standing in a separate queue compared to your counterparts. The same thing would apply if my dad went to a bottle store. There was a non-white queue to get into the bottle store. The second realization I had was at the age of 11. And I realized that, you know, I was destined to be an entrepreneur. As much as we were taught, you know, like everybody else said, get a good grades and get a good education, find yourself a good job and retire. By the age of 11, I knew that I was going to be an entrepreneur. That's when I started my first business, where I bought 2 bicycles. One I used to ride myself, and the other one I used to rent it to my friends. So I already started making some pocket money from that age. Yeah.
Proud of you. Cal, at what age did you realize that you were different? What age did it click for you?
Okay, so I would say the age of the click for me that I was different, and you know, for a long time I didn't think I was different. I didn't know I was different, but I knew that I was always the person who could come up with a snappy line, like a snappy the name of our crew. You know, it would come up to I would come up with these ideas. I named the I gave the marching band. I was in the marching band, and I gave the marching band a tag name, and they still use it today. and I saw how the band director was receptive to my idea. He loved it, you know, and even the way I phrased it, it added in something that he was like part of his identity from the school that he went to. So it was all those sort of things that I realized I had a knack for marketing. Like I loved marketing and coming up with slogans and all of that. And I had no idea that I would be putting that using skills as an author, you know, as having these shows. And I think it was you that told me, you said you always have such snappy titles for your videos. You know, like it's all of that. Like all of that was all of that came together. It's like it's part of, I guess, that God's given me to come up with the idea, to be an ideas guy. And so yeah, very young in that aspect. Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, you always been good like with things like that. Even I can, you know, think about college, and I'm like, man, you always was like,
Yeah. It's that mind.
yeah,
That mind is always going. Yeah, it's
yeah,
always
it's
coming up with things.
crazy. Um,
Yeah.
my next question is, why do you think you are called angry? black men or angry minority men? Why do people always just see you as angry? Cal, you want to take that, and I'm going to go around after that. Cal, why do you think y'all always receive to be y'all angry, mad? Y'all men are always mad. We get it all the time too, but men, y'all get it just as
Yeah.
well. Why do you think
Hmm.
that is?
Well, because there's a disconnect between understanding who people are and where they come from. You know, um, as a dark skinned, tall,
Mm,
football player looking guy, uh, where I lived, I almost had to, and I found myself doing this. I almost had to like um, think about how I was going to be perceived by the little old white ladies who come in my path. Like we're coming around the corner. You know how you coming around the corner, let's say in the grocery store, and you look up, and I know when they see me, they wasn't expecting to see a large black man. Okay, they're not expecting to see me, and so I would get this startled look. It's like, oh, hi, not like they are necessarily afraid, but just shocked to see, and like almost like in defense, like let me grab my pocketbook.
mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
so if you grow up in that kind of environment where you're guilty before until you prove yourself innocent, um, it can create something in you as well as in the environment that you're in. You know, I don't think that anyone should have to live that sort of way, always on fence. You know, and so I just decided that, you know what, I can't. There are some things I can't stop. I can't stop how people are going to think, what people are going to
Absolutely.
do, but I can only decide what I'm going to do and live the life, walk the walk that I live. And I've done that, and so that's been good for me.
That's very true. Craigie, um, why do you think we are always men are always, well, minority men are always perceived to be angry? What do you think that is?
Well, again, I think, the anger most probably could come from a point of being disadvantaged. We are all, born on this earth. We're all human beings. Might just be different colors. Why shouldn't we be given that opportunity? Why should man make certain rules to disallow you from doing certain things? And I think that's where the anger came from. I mean, if I wanted to go to a specific
Mm,
beach, I was told I was just not the right color. I couldn't go onto the beach.
mm,
But it helped me in a way that maybe not so much of anger, but allowed me the opportunity to prove myself that I'm more worthy of what other people's opinions were, and
mhm.
I can still achieve it. So you can put the restrictions on me, but I'm still going to achieve it.
I know that's right. Um, Antonio.
Yeah, for me it would be miseducation, uh, misrepresentation, and misinterpretation. The
Mm,
miseducation just come from not being taught in school or anything like that. Just regular rhetoric around the dinner table or around friends, um, our white counterparts or people of different races. Like, they may hear things that's untrue and unfounded. So they get miseducation about how black people or black men are. And then misrepresentation is because of what media puts out there, what they see on TV
mm,
or what they see on the news. And so that's misrepresentation because you may see somebody on TV that's a game banger or something like that, but that doesn't mean that RJ is like that or that I'm like that or that Kevin's like that. It just means that there's a show and they're trying to really not even trying to show us that all black men are gangsters or anything like that. They're just trying to tell a story about what's going on in different neighborhoods. And then the misinterpretation could be that I may have grown up in a home where I watched my parents fight all the time. And now I walk around with this scowl on my face. And so soon as somebody look at my face, they're like, oh, he's mean or he's angry.
Mhm.
Or you know, I need to protect myself because this person probably is about to attack me or try to rob me. But if they walk up to you and get to know you and give you a fair opportunity or fair chance, they may find that you may be one of the brightest and one of the most nicest person that they ever meet. I mean, we see it all the time about somebody helping somebody across the road or helping their fellow neighbor do something, and it's disturbing at times. Sometimes we are angry because of how we're perceived. So we get angry about that. We get angry about racial injustice. So sometimes we are angry, but we're angry for the right reasons. The things that they say about us being angry all the time, that's wrong. We're not angry all the time. We're just passionate and we're assertive about the things that we want out of life.
That's true. RJ, why do you think that always perceived as to be angry, that minority men are just angry? Why do you think that is?
Well, LaDonna, one of the reasons, in my humble opinion, is how we come off on people when we talk. Okay. If a bigger person, a lot of people will automatically think you're angry, especially you have a bass in your voice. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they think that you are angry about whatever, you know, but in all reality, we as minorities, we've always had to work harder for things. We also had to prove ourselves a lot harder than anyone else.
Mhm.
So when we talk to whoever, depending on, you know, the bass on our voice and what we say, people are going to perceive that. Whereas 50% of the time, that's not the case. You
That's
know,
true.
yes, I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but for myself, I'm a smaller person. So people are going to look at me as trying to defend myself all the time, where 80, 90% of the time, that's not the case. But, you know, certain situations, that's just how I talk, you know, and you can't really help that. I mean, you can adjust, but if that's in your blood and that's in your nature, then that's going to be kind of hard to, you know, just cut loose.
Oh, that's true. Um, Preggy, between women and men in business, what are some of the difference that you see? And also, yeah, how do you think there's a big difference how men and women are perceived in business?
Well, if I had to look at, in terms of South Africa at the moment, I think women are very much given the equal opportunity as men from jobs and opportunities out there. So really and truly, we don't really see the difference now between the two genders. It's on par. The opportunities are there, just having the right mindset and taking it and running with it. So there's not really a huge difference, no.
RJ, do you believe there's a difference between men and women in business? Do you see a difference?
Uh, you know, in a little bits and pieces, yes. But as a gender, not really, because as a race, whether you male or female, if you're a minority, you have to, you know, scrap and scramble to you have to scrap and scramble harder than the next person. But I mean, if you want to talk about differences, you know, it's you know, I I can't really explain it, but um, as a race, we having to prove ourselves more than anyone else. So that's not really a difference. Not to me, it's not.
Okay. Cal, do you think there's a big difference between men and women in business? Do you think there's a difference?
Well, I tell you, there may have been a difference in the past, but this is the day of the woman in business. Like, there's probably never been a time where there's been more opportunity for women in business. For they're getting the education, they're getting the degrees, they're getting the minority grants and those things, and so this is the time, man. Like this is the dream of women 100 years ago, that that their daughters would have an opportunity that has almost pretty much a playing field that's it's almost more level in their favor than in the men's favor. So I just encourage them, go for it. Open, go through it, and yes, you'll meet some opposition. Opposition is you take it on the chin and you keep going, and women are doing that. And so this is the best time in human history to be a woman. Especially with our vice president, our new vice president is a woman.
That's our other panelist. Hey, Jay.
Yeah, so you can't beat that. You can't beat that.
How you doing? Sorry for getting on late.
That's okay. I saw you earlier. I know you're busy, man. I know you one busy man over there. I'm sorry, Calvin. What was you saying? I'm sorry. Who was on? RJ. I'll see the RJ already. Antonio. What did I do? What's it? Okay. Antonio, did I ask you the same question?
Oh,
did you
no.
hear the question? Women do you think there's a big difference between men and women in business? Do you think there's a big difference?
Yes, big difference.
Okay.
The women are doing their thing. The women, they are pursuing it. It's like, look, full force ahead for the women, and then you can see the unity with all the women. They're helping pull each other up. There's really no division amongst them. Yeah, whether it's a reality show or whether it's Kamala Harris getting all the people, inspiring others to want to be, get into politics or whatever like that. So, the big difference to me, if we look at it as far as if you're saying if there are any real oppositions, anything that's holding them back, then I think we're on a level playing field when it comes to men and women. But the difference to me is, because even for myself, I've been pursuing the entrepreneurial field for the longest. And like I said, I didn't know anything about it. It was a woman that said, you need to apply for your LLC. You need to get your business license. You need to get registered with the state. So she taught me a lot of things. And right here in Montgomery, Alabama, right now, she's even in politics herself. And if you're watching, Tashina Morris, thank you very much for everything that you've done for me. But we're on a level playing field, but the grind and the hustle and the sweat and everything that the women are putting into it is far greater than what men are doing these days.
I can contest to that. That's true. Because I'm rocking over here, guys. We're taking over the world. Jay, if you could just introduce yourself and give a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, definitely. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for having me, first and foremost. Definitely honored and privileged. My name is Jay. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, born and raised, come from very, very humble beginnings. And, I was taught, go to school, get good grades, and go get a good job. And I did that. I was a mental health counselor for a living. I found my passion in doing that. But living in New York City, it wasn't enough to pay the bills, so I had to get a second job. So I'm a married man with 4 kids, and I had no time. I was making good money, working 2 jobs, but I just didn't have the time that I needed to enjoy my family. My health was declining. I was just in a really bad place. My wife was pregnant with our third child, and I was asking my boss, what can I do to make more money? And she said, go back to school, continue your education, and then we can sit down and talk about how we can increase your pay. And at that point, I was like, how am I going to go to school? I don't have time. I work 2 jobs. I can't afford it, so my back was against the wall, and I was praying and I was looking for something. And, I don't come from any entrepreneurial background. None of my family members are any entrepreneurs, so I didn't understand it. But I seen a friend of mine who was living a better lifestyle than I had, and he had what I wanted. And, the one thing we should all do is they got what you want, become a student, and don't be scared to ask questions.
Absolutely.
And so I asked this person a question, and we sat down, and he showed me a business model that I've heard of in the past, but I was very close-minded to. But I was too broke to be skeptical at that point. And when I seen the idea, it completely made sense, and I saw a way where I can possibly get my financial freedom back and get some time to enjoy my kids. And I saw a way where I can explore the world and just really do what I wanted to do. And so yeah, I never looked back. So now I'm here 8 years later. This is entrepreneur full time, and I love what I do. I love the fact that the business model we're in, we're able to help other people achieve some of their goals, and help inspire other people, and show people that it's possible. And I feel like a lot of us are born with this childlike enthusiasm, and somewhere along the point of becoming an adult, that enthusiasm, that light that's inside you starts dimming slowly but surely, because we start to conform. And we start to believe that we can achieve our dreams. So we start to just look at, our neighbors, and, we start to see how their lives are, and we compare ourselves to them, and then we get comfortable. But we're here. What we do is, I feel like, being an entrepreneur, it revives that spirit. It reinvigorates that fire and lights that little light that turns into a roaring flame. And when you're on fire, guess what happens? Other people around you feel that energy, and now you inspire other people. And I truly love just, doing what I do. And I love business. I feel like it's the way of the world. It's how the world ran before there was, typical jobs. I think that was farming and trading goods and services. And, somewhere along that, along times we've changed. And I think it's changing back to the entrepreneur spirit. So, I feel like everybody definitely needs to tap into what they love and enjoy, and find a way where they can actually monetize it, especially now on social media. There's a way for you to do any type of business that you like and enjoy. So, yeah, it's a little bit about me.
Yeah. I'm so glad you are here. We're going through some questions, and I'm just, getting the minority man side, because we did the women's about a month ago. So I figured, let me put the men in the ring and let them, share their experiences, and how they break things down. This is the next question. Have you ever experienced colorism? And I don't know if you know what that is, but it's people basing you on your skin tone within our community.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
we do each other.
Yeah, of course. Living in Brooklyn, New York, I think they look at us all the same. We get pulled over, we get harassed, we get, locked up, and for no reasons. And, growing up, I've, of course, many times got pulled over for no reason, or I would just be walking and they'll stop me and, lift up your shirt. Let me see, and it was just like, wait, what's going on? I didn't do anything. Oh, you fit the description, so many times I've experienced that. And, even recently, I being a successful entrepreneur, I moved down to Florida, and, I'm like, everybody here is so friendly. And, we purchased a home, and, the area we purchased a home, the average home is anywhere from $300,000 to $400,000. So when they see a young man that, looks like me, comes from where I come from, and, right away they judge. And I remember going to the homeowners association and looking to go pick up the key to the pool, and to the pool area, the fob key. And, the guy was like, oh, so do you live in the townhouses over there? And I was like, no, I live on the side where the houses are at. Oh, so are you a renter? I said, no, I actually own it. And he was like, oh, wow, okay. I thought you were I actually drove by there the other day, and I was in, dirty clothes because I was cleaning and moving the house around, and, we were in the process of moving. And he was like, it's funny because I saw you the other day out there, and I thought you was actually the helpers. And I'm like, wow, I was blown away. And I'm just sitting there like, interesting, but I'm not one to take anything personal, so I just laughed. I said, no, I'm sorry, buddy, I'm actually the owner of that big house over there, and so what's your name, because you basically are employed by me now.
That's right.
So, yeah, so it was an interesting moment, but yeah, we've been through it many times. I don't take, I have thick skin. I think growing through it so many times, you just learn how to just grow that thick skin and learn how to just brush things off and learn how to flip it and use it to your advantage in a way.
That's true. Cal, have you ever experienced colorism, and how did you handle it?
Well, I definitely have. I want to say a little something. Once upon a time, I used to have that feeling like I needed to, I needed to feel like enough, right?
Mm.
And then so when people make little statements like that, like God said to you, like, oh, I thought you was the help.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Now if somebody say, you know what I say? I am the help. Now what? Like as if the help is not enough. Okay, as if that guy, because look, nowadays in this time period that we living in, that guy who's the help could end up being the CEO of the next company. Or he could be the person who gives you the next piece of bread that you need for whatever it is. And so I think that moment of us, that time of us having to prove ourselves, that's something that people of other colors, like,
Mm-hmm.
they don't feel like they got to prove something because of their color.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, they say, look, this is who I am, this is what I have, and just go with that. But only us who have color, have this melanin, we feel like we have to satisfy someone else's curiosity, or just
Mm-hmm.
always
Mm-hmm.
striving. We always have to try and be enough. Always gotta be
Mm-hmm.
enough. I mean, our mothers, grandmothers, or grandfathers, they told us, you gotta do twice as much to be just as good. Maybe that is true, right? But I don't have to carry that mentality that
That's
I'm not
right.
enough, because that's what that really says, is that I'm not enough. But
Mm-hmm.
I believe that we gotta turn that around and say, you know what? Thank God for the help. And guess what? Once upon a time, I was the help. And if this whole economy go upside down again, I might be the help again. But guess what? I got the mentality to come back.
Mm-hmm.
I can come back from anything because it's inside here. It's inside here. And I'll be back on top again. But there's nothing wrong with being the help.
That's a fact.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Preggy, have you ever experienced colorism?
Um, like my brother said earlier on, you just gotta have a rhino skin attitude and just brush it off. So I think that's what I literally did. Yep.
Antonio, have you experienced colorism?
Absolutely, absolutely. When I was younger, my parents, wanted to give my sister and I a better life. So we moved to a predominantly white neighborhood. And as a young kid, I mean, every move I made, if I walked into the service station, I'm being watched. If I'm coming home from school and the police in the neighborhood, hey, where you live at, kid? I mean, yeah, I've dealt with it on my jobs and in school and everything. But more importantly, I've dealt with it just right within my own community, with my
Mm-hmm.
own people. Everything that we do, especially if you're in network marketing or anything like that, first thing that comes to mind is scam. Why? Because of what? Because I'm black just like you. No, it's not a scam. Well, I'm doing something that can give you financial freedom.
You got that right.
And because what comes with financial freedom is the freedom with your life. I mean, because it's not fair to trade 5 days or 10, 12 hours a day of your life going to work for 2 days off to spend with your family, or to try to stay healthy, or to try to work on building your own brand or your own business. So, yes, I've dealt with colorism, but you have to overcome that stigma. You have to overcome that fear and be like, and like my man Cal said, you have to say, hey, I am enough. I am enough no matter if I'm the janitor of the business. I am enough. So, yeah, I've dealt with it, but I'm proud to say that it doesn't hold me back.
That's good. I think everybody has, especially if you're a minority, you definitely have dealt with that. Have you ever code switched? Kevin, have you ever code switched?
Have I ever code switched?
Mm-hmm. I just actually just found out what this was like maybe like a few months ago. I'm like,
Yeah, yeah.
what is code switching?
Define code.
Code switching is that
I
when
I
you're
know what it is,
when
but
you're
define
around your family
if
or
you would.
friends, you talk how you talk. And then when you get around other counterparts, you kind of talk more proper or try to be a chameleon,
Yeah.
so to speak. Have you ever had to do that?
Yeah. I get it. Well, again, listen. Again, as an African American black male, large black male, I carry with me the mandate, and this could just be in my mind, right? But it's the mandate that I have to represent someone intelligent, somebody that can put words together, somebody that can put ideas together, and show the white people or whoever that they're a black man can be intelligent and speak and be able to meet you where you are, and so for some of us, we believe that, look, code switching is good, because you can't talk in your friendly tone that you talk with your homies with when you're getting in business, or people don't take you seriously, so maybe I don't know. I don't believe that there's I don't go with the whole talking white sort of when it comes to code switching, but just I think it's important for a black man.
Fergie, have you ever had to code switch?
I think I think the important thing for me was I just wanted to be as authentic as possible. I didn't have to just fit in into a situation. I just wanted to be me. So really, I don't think I would have succumbed to that now.
Jay, have you ever had to code switch?
Not that I've had to, but I feel like I am a chameleon. And, we can always say we can, whether we're in the projects or we're in the White House, there's a certain way to act and there's a certain way to be. But I'm always myself, at the end of the day. And, at one point I remember trying to, I guess, appease and to try to be a certain way around people. But I realized, man, you got to be yourself, just be who you are. And either you're going to love me or leave me alone. So, that's really what it is. But of course, if you're in certain rooms, the conversations are different. You can go into your bag and show them that you know what you're talking about and you're educated and go hold a conversation. But also we could sit back and talk sports and have a good time as well. So you gotta have multiple different things going for yourself as well. So yeah.
True. Antonio, have you ever had to code switch?
Maybe when I was getting a job or something. Maybe at a job interview, just trying to lay out my credentials, and maybe that's it. But once I got the job, then they got to see the real me. so yeah, so maybe doing the job interview, yeah.
That's true. RJ, have you ever had to code switch? RJ?
Not really, because yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. We can hear you fine.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Okay. Not really. Okay. Not really, because I'm me all the time. Depending on where I'm at, man, I just be me, and I just judge every situation as they come along, and I deal with it accordingly. So trying to be somebody else, no, that's never me. I was not raised to try to be like anybody else. Once I knew who I was, then I knew that, how I wanted to be, how I was going to be, and I took it from there.
All right, thanks. Okay, Pergy, what made you choose the field you're in, and what do you love about it?
Sorry, could you just repeat that?
Uh, why did you pick the field that you're in, and why do you love it?
Well, so just to go back a few steps, I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I always wanted to be successful. Why did I get involved in direct sales? I must admit, when I was studying for a Bachelor of Commerce, I didn't learn about the business model of direct sales. I learned about sole proprietors, BGY limited companies, public companies, LLCs, and those kind of businesses. So when I never took the industry serious because I always thought direct sales was for people who couldn't find a job. It was for people who didn't have a qualification. I don't think it was more of being naive of the industry. It was more my stupidity of not wanting to learn about the industry. In 2009, I was reading Warren Buffett's biography, and I asked myself a question: why would this man own 3 direct sales companies? It's something that he knows that I don't know. And subsequent to that, I read a couple of other stories. Richard Branson investing in the direct sales industry, and when I started to investigate the business model, I realized it was the only business model that could give you true sense of freedom, both the time freedom and the financial freedom. And what I like about the business model is that you don't have to work 40 years to take 2 years off. You could literally work 2 to 5 years and take 40 years off. And at the same time, while you are helping others to succeed in life and to better their lifestyle, at the same time you're helping yourself. Whereas when I found in conventional business, conventional business, I had staff that worked for me, and I realized one thing: these people were building my children's dream. They were building my dream. They were not building their dreams. As much as I could incentivize them, I could send them for holidays or give them money towards deposit for cars or homes. What I found is that I couldn't create millionaire stuff. The business model just didn't allow it. It allowed me to create millionaire customers, but direct sales allowed me to bring an average person. I could pick somebody off the street who's a sweeper and teach him some skills and help him to become financially free. Other business models didn't allow it, and that's what I love about this industry. It's about helping people. Yeah.
I love that. RJ, oh, I'm sorry, I do have another part of that question. If you could go back in time to your 15-year-old self, what advice would you give yourself?
Be a little bit more open-minded in terms of different business models. Definitely.
RJ, what made you choose the field that you're in, and what do you love about it?
Okay, LaDonna. What made me choose to be an author and a writer? I love to read. I love to read. I read books by some of the biggest names in urban fiction industry: Eric Jerome Dickey, Kiki Swenson, Nikki Turner, Silk White, giants like that. Even Sister Soldier. You know, I love to read. Since I was a little boy, my first book that I picked up was Cat in the Hat. And it's something about the industry itself fascinates me. And that's why I never lost the passion in doing it, even when I was procrastinating. Okay. When I got around to wanting to write, it was all a matter of putting things together in order, putting all the pieces together, so to speak. The industry itself, it has its good points, its bad points, but it's all about how you make it, just like any other industry, just like the music industry, the media industry, and any other branch of the industry. We're all entertainers. Everyone in this panel are entertainers in their own way. Okay, so it's all about how you make it. And in the industry I'm in, I've met a whole lot of great authors, independent authors and mainstream authors. And, this been a great journey so far, and I'm just getting started.
Oh, that's great. If you can go back in time and speak to your 15-year-old self, what advice would you give yourself? What advice would you give?
At 15 years old, I would tell my 15-year-old self to be more open-minded and to open my selection as far as what I choose to read. Okay. I started branching out as far as my reading material when I was grown. So yes, my 15-year-old self will have to step it up a little bit.
Oh, Jay, what made you decide to go into your field, and what do you love about it?
Yeah, so I think just the industry is you can come as you are. It doesn't go off of your background, doesn't go off of your education level. It goes off of your level of desire. And if you have a work ethic, again, when I used to do counseling, there was a lot of people that wanted to do good, but they didn't have the skills, or they had a bad background and they couldn't go do that, or there was other things that were holding them back, not just their education level. So. I love the fact that here anybody can do it, and if you just have a burning desire and you're coachable, teachable, you can be unstoppable. So that's truly what I love about, what we do here. And again, you can really attain that financial freedom. See, we could all make money doing anything we love and enjoy, but, to actually get that, passive income to really live your life the way you want to live it. I've never seen anything that, compares. And if I could talk to my 15-year-old self, it would be, tap into personal development a lot sooner, work on myself a lot faster, a lot more, and build relationships and, everlasting relationships. So that's what I would have said to my old self.
Thank you. Antonio, why did you get into your field, and what do you love about it? What do you love about what you do?
I just love to motivate and encourage others. When I really didn't have a care or no direction about where I want to go in life, I found myself like within a year's time ballooned up to 311 pounds and being diagnosed with diabetes and high blood pressure. Nobody to motivate me to get off that couch and go do something, to look out for my health. When I sat in an abandoned building and wrote the last letter and drunk a whole bottle of alcohol and was ready to commit suicide, nobody was there to motivate me. When I walked around and I had my head down and I was getting into all kinds of trouble because I was depressed, no one took interest in me and motivated me and said, "You're too smart for this. You need to get back on the right path." So, and when I stood before the judge facing 65 years in prison, no one was there to motivate me to say, "Hey, your life is not over if you go to prison and when you get back out, that your life is completely over." So, I just believe within myself that there's somebody out there right now, even now, watching this panel and listening to everything that we're saying, and it's giving them hope. It's giving them a fresh perspective about, hey, my life ain't over. I don't have to keep doing it this way. I don't have to go the traditional route. I can listen to these guys. I can try to connect with somebody, and I can try to move forward and do something better with my life. So for me, it's just to motivate people and encourage. Even on the jobs that I've been on, I tell people I speak what I speak. I don't have any fear because it didn't bother me if I lost a job, because I always felt I was there on an assignment. And I always ask God, who am I here for? To speak to help them out in their situation. So just to motivate people and encourage them, and to remind them that your life is not over and you can always do better if you want to do better. And if I could go back to my 15-year-old self, I would say, hey, stay out the street, stay out of trouble, stay in the books, get your grade, because God made you better than this.
Cal, what do you love about what you do? And what made you get into the field that you're in? And what do you love about it?
So what made me get into the field of, coming up being a pastor's kid, I was, always the idea was you're here to help. You're here to build people, to help people to live a better, a greater life, and I knew that was going to be my life, but I didn't know how it was going to all shake out, and so I can remember listening to Les Brown and listening to Tony Robbins and listening to all these guys, as well as being in there on Sunday morning, hearing all of these messages of hope. And I said, I know there's more, there's something in this for me, and so I just started speaking, and somebody told me once I started understanding what personal development was and what motivation was and all of that. And I said, you know what? I want to do that. Well, when I said I want to do that, the opportunity opens itself. I applied for this job, and I got the job. And the guy says, well, just before I hire you, I got to tell you one thing. I said, what? He said, you have to speak every single day. Right? Now, I had just read in the book on how to become a speaker, how to become a motivational speaker. I had read it in the book that you just got to find somewhere that you can speak every single day. Well, this guy said, most people walk away at this point, but I'll just tell you, you got to speak every day. I said, is that right? Well, let's go with it, And I was on and popping with it, and so that one yes opened up many doors. I was able to get on the radio and have a radio show for about 5 years, a motivational radio show. I was able to host my own events, create my own products, and sell at my own events, and then put out my first physical book, Build Your Success from the Ground Up, and that's a personal development book. So, it's just one thing. It's one step at a time, one step after that. So then once I started building that for myself, people started asking me, well, Kel, how did you do all of that? Like I heard you on the radio last night and you're sitting next to me. How'd you do that? And so people kept asking me, how'd you go from the social work business into doing this sort of business? And if enough people ask you, how'd you do that? That's a business idea right there. So I went from there and created the Counselor Success System, helping counselors to become entrepreneurs. And so that went pretty well. But I started getting a lot of people who weren't counselors who wanted help building their brands. And so that I created Platform Builders Mastermind, and I have one-on-one clients helping them to build their own brand. And so, the whole Love Coach thing, it was another thing that just unfolded right in line. When you got 15 years of talking to men about their problems, and all of their problems have something to do with a woman, you start getting something. You know what I mean? Not
what
that
you trying to say, Cal?
Wait. Not that their problem was the woman, but the woman was involved in their problem. Let me just say it that way. Because they were.
I don't know if I like that.
they were their problem. LaDonna, they were their problem. But the woman, there was always a woman involved in these situations, And and most of the women just didn't understand why he did what he did. Well, if you hear 5 years worth of stories, you start understanding some things about why men do what they do. And so I just took that information and applied it to the love market.
Well, I'm
And
gonna have to invite you back so you can have an online discussion with a few women. We got questions.
yeah, I got questions.
We got a lot of questions.
Hey, let it rock, let it roll. Let's go with it.
I'll be contacting you.
Yeah, but but that's the thing, man. Like there's you don't even know why you are doing what you're doing and what it's going to lead to next.
Mm.
So I heard Jim Rohn one time say, when the end comes for you, let it find you climbing a new mountain or coming down the other side of an old one on your way to a new one.
Mm.
And so
Interesting. Did I get everybody on that question? Preggy, did I ask you that question? I got everybody. My next question is, how important is it to have access to the right kind of advisors or mentors? As for me, I think it's extremely important, whether it's a book, whether it's somebody that you admire, somebody that's moving in the direction that you're moving in, can share their experiences. I think it's important to pour into people, but not pour so much into them that you empty them out. So I think mentorship is extremely important, especially in entrepreneurship. Especially, you need good mentors, people that are going where you're going. Um, uh, Preggy, how important do you think having access to the right kinds of advisors and mentor is to you?
Well, absolutely, and I think it's critically important that you have a mentor, advisor, because remember, people are specialists in their own fields. If you need a financial advice, you need a financial advisor. There are people in the direct sales that have achieved the kind of results that you want to achieve, better to speak to. And I think the challenge people have is that to find that mentor. And I say to them, listen, you can go onto YouTube and you can find a mentor. There's amazing stuff on YouTube that you can plug into, and that could give you the guidelines and give you the direction to achieve what you want to. So absolutely critical. You should have a specialist, expert advisor. You need a mentor. I always said, I remember when I was growing up and I saw people that had the lifestyle that I wanted, and I said, I'm going to approach them. I'm not going to take 20 or 30 years to learn to get to where I want to in life. I'm going to learn from these guys. And some of them said, no, I wouldn't do it. But I kept on pursuing. I kept on forcing myself, eventually got under their arms and got them to mentor me and coach me. Absolutely. Critically important.
Thank you. Antonio, how important it is to have access to the right kind of advisor or mentor?
It's like the lifeline to your business and to anything that you're trying to do, because you can take an athlete that has raw talent, and he probably can go out there and do a lot of great things, but you coach him, you get him with the right coach and the right strength coach, the right person to teach him how to play the game and to play it right. We have a lot of people that have made history in the games of sports like basketball and football and baseball because they had the raw talent, but once they got a coach, then we see how great they actually could be. Even when it comes to direct sales or network marketing, you get in this business with all the ambition and the aspiration to do it, but you still need somebody to coach you in the direction that you're trying to go. Even when you're doing what I'm doing, when you're trying to be a motivational speaker, when you're drained, there's somebody that needs to motivate you. So to have that person to inspire you, to mentor you, and to coach you, it's your lifeline. It's definitely your lifeline.
That's true. Jay, how important is having access to the right kinds of advisor and mentor?
Yeah, I think it's very important. I think it will speed up the process. A perfect example of myself. I've gained over 100 pounds. Since high school until last year, and for 4 or 5 years, I've been trying to work out and lose weight on my own. And then this year, I started, looking up and doing the right research and finding one person. I think sometimes be careful because we're trying to have 20 mentors. And, sometimes you listening to too many people's advice. Find that one person that actually has what you want and has the results. Because there's a lot of fake mentors out there. There's a lot of good speakers, and there's a lot of good people that can talk good, and do they have the real results? So especially if you got, and there's 5 pillars. You got the financial, you got the mental, physical, social, and physical. I forgot the other one. I'll get to it, but you got 5 pillars. So if you want to get good with your finances, go find yourself a mentor that really knows what he's doing with his finances, and make sure that they have good finances, right? Because I want to see it. How can you go to relationship? That's the last one. The relationship. How can I go and ask a person who's successful in life but doesn't have a successful marriage? I want to be careful on whose opinion that I'm taking. So, make sure you definitely do. And, I had a friend that actually got a coach and a physical trainer to lose weight. A good friend of mine is Darren Walker. He actually lost 50 pounds in 2 months. It took me a year to do it on my own. So get yourself a mentor. It speeds up the process.
That's true. RJ, how important is to have access to the right kinds of advisor or mentor? RJ, can you hear us? I don't know what happens with Kyle. How important is having the right kinds of advisor or mentor? I'll come back around to RJ. I think he's having a problem with his communication.
Yeah, I agree with everything everyone said. Even what you said when you talked about getting mentors from being mentored from books and from videos. And I'm telling you, sometimes people are in a situation where they might not be able to afford a personal trainer, but you can afford to click YouTube every morning and get up and follow the instructor of whatever it is that you're into, and you can educate yourself in whatever. Listen, whatever. Here's the thing: you just got to be prepared for what's next. I learned that before, and I'm learning it all over again during this thing. You got to be prepared. And look, I wasn't prepared. I was kind of prepared just now. My computer crashed in the middle of this recording, and now look, I got 1% on this phone, so this might probably go out. But look, I try to be prepared, but this is the way life goes. So if it drops out, I'll be back. I just keep coming back. There's another lesson. Look, we don't know what life is. We just keep going, and just keep going. It is definitely a lesson to have.
That's true. RJ, can you hear us? Can you hear us, RJ? Can you hear us, RJ? I think he's having a problem with his phone. What books are you currently reading or recommend, Frankie? What books would you recommend to young entrepreneurs?
Well, there are so many books that I could refer to people to, but some of the books that have become my Bible in terms of the one that I really and truly enjoy, and I think I read it like around about 20 times. It's The Greatest Salesman in the World by Og Mandino, an absolutely brilliant book. There's a book called Mind Power by John Keogh. That's another excellent book. I like The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari by Robin H. Sharma. Somebody who wants to get into personal development. Perfect introduction book. So there's a lot of other books, but I think those would basically be the 3. And then, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Every business guy should read it. Every entrepreneur should read it. Yep.
That's a good book. Antonio, what books would you recommend, what are you currently reading?
Any book by Napoleon Hill. Any book by Napoleon Hill. I'm currently reading one of Napoleon Hill book right now. But definitely the Four Agreements by Don Ruiz Miguel and the Moses Code. I definitely would recommend those 2.
Oh wow. Jay, what books are you currently reading anything, or what would you recommend?
Well, actually, currently reading Make It Count by John C. Maxwell. It's a really good book about daily disciplines that you could do every day to make your day count and help you build those building blocks to get to where you want to go. But there's so many books. I always say it all depends on where you at in your life and in your business. I think different books. I feel like you become a doctor and everybody has a symptom of what they're going through and experiencing. And then, you go into the library of books on which book can be the prescription to help them get past what they're going through. So everybody is at a different place in their life. So every book is different, but, Think and Grow Rich was definitely a good one. The Bible was definitely a great one, whichever Bible you do like to read. All right. I think also for me was a good one was The Secret, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I just read The Four Agreements recently. That was a great book. Who Moved My Cheese? There's just so many books after, and I was never a book person, but yeah, go get a small, good book like a John C. Maxwell book and you'll fall in love with reading.
RJ, are you back? RJ? I don't know what happened to RJ. I guess he's frozen. Cal, are you reading anything or what book would you read? Oh, he said he 1%, guys. This is the book I am reading. It's called Relationship Intelligence by Darius Daniels, and it goes from business relationship to a personal relationship, friendships, and it's very good. It's he's actually a pastor. I'm actually a member of his church. This is a very good book if you know anybody that have working on relationships. A lot of times, he talks about being in partnerships with people and knowing when to break ties with people and knowing when to walk away from things that may be toxic, whether it's in a regular relationship or in business, because in some business relationships, it can be toxic as well. And I think a lot of people don't understand that is that, even in business, every smiling face is not a smiling face. You have to be careful who you're talking to. Be mindful who you have communications with. I think we're just losing people, guys. But I think it's very important to know how to treat people with a long-handed spoon, as my mother would say. I was thinking about Eric Grabowski, Eric G, and how he was saying how to take people's opinion, you got to be willing to take on their lifestyle. And that is so true. And one of the things I have learned where I am in my journey right now is that I now have access to a lot of self-development, which something I never really was in touch with, something I never really would do. I would just read my Bible and that's it. But God gave us so many other resources to help us grow financially and as well as mentally, mind, body, and spirit. I think if that's not lined up, you're going to be jacked up. And I believe that. But once you put everything together and you put everything moving in the right direction, your life will be fruitful in so many ways. And I want to thank everybody. That was my last question, guys. I know that was a long road and a bumpy road, but I want to thank you all so much for coming in here with me and, coming into my house. I am honored to have my friends on the line with me. This is my extended, Antonio, that's my extended family. That's my extended, those are my extended family there. And we are just so blessed, and we're just at a time in our lives where anything's impossible. Like I said, starting out growing up, I really didn't know about wealth too much. I really didn't know about all these things until I got connected to people that are moving, until I got connected to people that want more in life, that not only talk the talk, but they're walking the walk. And so I think that's very important. Connect yourself to people, places, and things that are going to generate income. I learned that. Don't be sitting around idle. When God tells you to move, you better move. So it's a lot of things that I'm learning actually in this season of my life, and I'm so glad I am obedient to God's voice. And all of you add so much value on this evening. I want to thank you once again for all tuning in here. If you have any last parting words you would like to say or anything, let me know. The floor is yours. I don't know if anyone has any questions because I didn't see any comments or anything pop up, but if they get back to me, I will definitely get those questions back to you guys. And also, if you can just send me the name of the books that you mentioned so I can actually put them on the page, so people will have an idea of what they can read, And if you don't mind, is it okay if I share your information with one another so that you guys can link up? Because I think it's important to link up with other entrepreneurs and people that's doing things. Because when this is over, I would like to do some in-person things with everybody, and I sit down with each one of you one-on-one and talk about your businesses and things like that. Because I believe in small business and connecting people one to another. That I'm gonna take. I believe in connecting people to things that's growing. I believe that. So once again, thank you guys so much for coming on here tonight, and I love you guys as all of, and take care of yourself. Hopefully I can get to South Africa soon. Soon. I can go. Yeah, guys. So just stay safe and give my best to your families. And I hope everybody is. Oh, I don't know. That's Kyle. He tried to connect back on. Kyle, well, poor thing. He said 1%, 2%, 3%. Poor his thing is just going.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate you guys. God bless.
Yes,
Thank you.
Kyle. Thank you so much. If you can you just send me the name of the book
Yes.
that you mentioned earlier so that I could share it with the viewers? And I wanted to thank you again for popping on here. I know you had a bit of a phone struggle,
Sure.
a bit of a phone struggle, but it was a pleasure with everybody. I'm so glad you were all here this evening. And everybody have a good night. And thank you for Let's Talk About It. If you have anything y'all want to come on here and share, please be sure to contact me and I will get you guys on. Thank you guys.
Thank you. Thank you
Good
for having
night.
us on. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you,
you're
guys.
so welcome. I'm going to
Bye.
send you a copy
All
of this
right.
audio. All right,
Thank you,
good
guys.
night.
All right, God bless you.
Bye-bye.